What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting. We're out for the good reels, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. The Brett Band's right over here. Chris is right underneath us, and the time is now here because we are finally reviewing the Bond series. Not the whole series, mind you, but the Daniel Craig versions, the 5 movies. We got Casino Royale, which is going to be today. Quantum of Solace will be after that. Skyfall and Inspector, and then No Time to Die, which comes out on October the 8th. We'll be reviewing that and doing a ranking of all of Craig's movies at that point. So we're really excited about it because these are all a lot of good times. So we're pumped to get to it, guys. Be sure to check out our last video we did, which is going to be the expectations of the No Time to Die movie. We'll put a link for that over Brett's head. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time with that one. But I'm excited to get into his first one, man. How are you guys feeling today? Are you pumped to get into this? Because I know I am, with my martini over here, shaking, of course, not stirred.
Man, I am more happier than freaking James Bond and the lawn chasing.
Oh, yes, you are.
You know what? I'm feeling good today, man. I couldn't really go the martini route. It's just not something that I could really keep down. So I can't, I didn't want to be just Ralphing the entire episode. So I went with a White Russian, but did go with a cocktail, if you will, instead of the normal beer. So
this is not Big Lebowski, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bond, James Bond, but they both have B's in them, so I'm excited to talk about it, man. So
and I got my gold berry.
But let him finish, which is absolutely filled to the brim with almost 100% vodka. He will be more muffed up than anybody today. Yeah,
absolutely. Because it's actually the Vesper. That's what it is.
I like it, dude. That's freaking vodka, gin, and everything in between. Anyway, let's get into this one, guys. I'm pumped about it. This might be the biggest review we've ever done. As far as at least budgetary restraints here, but I mean, I'm pumped up. Let's get into
this. Has the highest potential for potentially all three of us giving it the golden reel, possibly.
Well, let's get into it, man. Let's pop it up and see. Let's get that. Oh yeah, that's my doings tonight. So let's get into Casino Royale, which came out in 2006. It was released November the 17th. It has an 8 out of 10 on the IMDb. Which is way better than the Friday the 13th movies we've been reviewing. We got a 94% Rotten Tomatoes score and an 89 audience score, $150 million budget. Of course, it racked in worldwide now. It racked in $616 million and a half and some change. Obviously, this is directed millions and millions and millions and millions. And this was directed by Martin Campbell, who also did GoldenEye. So he's actually returning to the Bond series here. Guys, what do you think about these numbers going in?
And Martin Campbell also did recently the Tosche movie too, if y'all are wondering or curious about that. But that's for another time. But no, the numbers are exactly where they belong, and I have absolutely no complaints, even though IMDb could be a little bit higher.
Dude, you don't see a lot of 8s on IMDb, man. Like that's actually ridiculously high for an IMDb score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. All these pretty much line up to what exactly what you would expect with a movie this good. And I would say, man, November 17th, 2006, that was a long fucking time ago. I remember when this came out, I was stoked for it, and that's just making me feel old. It's also nice to get a good action movie in the fall season. Usually they always put it out. It's either like right at Christmas or right in the middle of the summer. So always good to have a good action flick there right in the middle of fall, man.
Yeah, and this was my first Bond movie in theaters too. Actually, that's a lie. It's The World's Not Enough, but this was the actual first great Bond movie I saw in theaters.
Yeah, it's wild because this came out at a time, which I'll get into a little bit more here in a second, but it came off the Pierce Brosnan era and the video game era of Bond. So I was really I was 15 at the time, guys. So I was really digging the Pierce and the gadgets and all this. So when this came out, I was like, oh man, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I was a little upset there wasn't the gadgets and the ladies and everything that usually ensued in a Bond movie. But as I got older, I revisited in college, and this instantly, I could see how amazing it was, which we'll get into a little bit more. But I'm going to jump into some more of these little Bond facts here. Brett, are you ready for this one?
Let's do it. The name's Bond. James Bond. And this is Daniel Craig's debut playing the legendary character of James Bond. This is the first movie of Casino Royale. And I will let you know my thoughts about him later. But just, he was great, man.
Absolutely. And we got several villains in this one. The main one being Le Chiffre by Mads Mikkelsen, knocked it out of the park. We'll talk about him more later. Another big one here, Mr. White comes in at times by Jesper Christensen. And then Richard plays Adolf Getler, which he has a Getle. He's got a he kind of shows up at the end, which again we'll talk about. Alex Demetrios is a big character in this one by Simon Abkarian.
You birded that one up, buddy. Come
on. And then obviously
it was like Abkarian. Where did I get Munson?
Knew it started with an S though. But obviously we're not good at pronouncing names here. But the Mr. Parkour himself, Malaka here. Sebastian Focan, we'll go with that. Freaking he was beast in this thing, but we'll get into that. Chris, this one's for you right here, my friend.
Titties. Yeah, man. Vesper Lind, I love Ava Green, man. I think that she's great in everything that she does. And man, you know what? I think that let's let this linger for a second, and then and also Katerina Marino. Portrayed, of course, by Solange Demetrios, also a hottie boom body. But I'll say we sit here with this for just a second. Just let this sink in. And then when we go back, we all have to stand up for boner check.
And while we are working on that, I say let's roll up the engines. Let's roll up the engines and let's talk about, there we go, Daddy. This is what gets me going here. It's that beautiful Aston Martin DBS V12 that we get to see in Casino Royale. Like Chris, you keep your women. Just give me that engine, baby.
Yeah, you know what that Aston Martin DBS though is, right?
Wait, did you say Aston Martin or Aston?
Oh, why? Aston.
Okay. So Chris is horny tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for him.
That's what I said. I thought there was two S's in there.
No, you put two S's in there.
I was also thinking because that DBS stands for the back seat. My man, roll it up.
Roll it. Call the roll credits. I will say the DB5's in this one as well. Makes an appearance, obviously driven by Demetrius. And then Bond wins it in some poker, which is a cool sequence, a nice callback to a car that we're going to be seeing a lot more of here in the next couple of movies. But anyway, man, let's get into this damn thing, man. So let me go ahead and a little history lesson here of how we came to this point, how we got to Casino Royale. Obviously, it came off the heels of the Pierce Brosnan era. Die Another Day was one of the most ridiculous movies that we've ever seen in our lives. I mean, as a kid, I liked it. It came out, I was like 12. I had a good time with it. But
another day.
Yeah, play the old Madonna track there.
Pierce was doing his thing. It wasn't quite as silly as Roger Moore, but it was getting there. And it was also a great time because we had video game after video game, Everything or Nothing, Nightfire, all that stuff. But I mean, it was really what Bond was about at this time was gadgets and over the top action and more ladies than you can count for Bond and all that kind of stuff. So obviously we had Die Another Day. It was a very CGI heavy movie. Wasn't anything crazy. And they knew that they wanted to do kind of a reboot at this point because Barbara Broccoli, obviously the owner of all of this here wanted to do Casino Royale. The Broccoli's have always wanted to do Casino Royale, right? But they never had the rights to it. It was one of the first novels, if not the first novel that Ian Fleming wrote back in the 50s. And at that point, they did an American adaptation of it with a CIA agent, and they did kind of a spoof at that point back in the early, the 50s and the 60s. So they sold the rights off. They never had the rights. They always wanted to do the story, but in 2000, they got the rights to Casino Royale, and they're like, okay, this is going to be the introduction to Bond. This is going to be a reboot to his character. This is going to show him how he becomes Bond. So we're going to have to recast this. We couldn't Pierce this thing up because it wouldn't work. We all know it wouldn't work at this point. As much as I like Pierce, but it just wouldn't work in this scenario. So they get those rights. They get Daniel Craig, and Barbara was really adamant about getting Craig. A lot of fans weren't really behind it. They said, he's not the good-looking guy. He's not charismatic. He's not going to do the. Actually, I think I have a quote here.
God, my mom said otherwise.
He has. Yeah.
Because I forced her to watch Casino Royale before this review, and she couldn't stop saying and mentioning the blue eyes. I'm like, God, Mom, just watch the movie. Damn it.
His eyes were great. So this actually, the look of Bond here by Craig is actually the most close to the novel, I think, of any of them. So they're saying, yeah, Craig is blonde. He has no charisma, whatever. They hate him. Martin Campbell even wanted to get Henry Cavill, who was 23 at the time, to come in and take the role so he could run with it for a while. Until he read the script and he's like, oh, yeah, Daniel Craig's a good fit. Which, by the way, Martin Campbell's one. He's a director. They wanted to get back to the franchise since GoldenEye, but he kept turning them down after they were churning out some of these weird movies. But he saw this script and he's like, yeah, this is what I'm down for. So anyway, obviously they're saying all this, but there's boycott websites, all kinds of crazy shit about Craig. Like, we're not going to watch the movie, but it comes out to be the most...
Heath Ledger as the Joker effect, right? Where people were just
precisely
up in arms about that shit just a couple years later too.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say that it pisses me off that people hate on like an actor being in a movie versus actually giving it a chance. Like, just if they suck after the movie comes out, they go freaking talk your shit or all that, but don't do it before the movie.
Right. And this, like I said, this came out. It was the most successful movie of all time in the Bond franchise as far as money coming in. I think people were just really into Pierce at the time because he was solid. And you had GoldenEye, and you had, the video games and all that. People were really on the Pierce train, and they were a little bit upset he was done. But either way, we got that. So let's get into this damn thing, man. Let's talk about what we like about it.
Oh, dude. Where do we even begin?
I'm sorry.
Where do we? No, seriously. Where do we even begin? Why
don't we go back to the beginning and begin at the beginning?
Yeah. Okay. Let's just go ahead and go with Chris's thing except for the Bond girls. The freaking opening title card. That was so damn solid. It's easily top 2 of the greatest, with opening title, with the animations and all that, and the freaking song. Both great.
The opening credits, yeah. Chris Cornell comes in with a banger here,
out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, and we're gonna rank our favorite Bond songs, but I'll tell you, this is gonna be up there. He comes out with a banger here, and what's awesome about it is traditionally, now not all the time, but traditionally a lot of the Bond songs in the franchise are named after the movie, like Die Another Day and The World's Not Enough and GoldenEye and all this stuff. This one's You Know My Name. That's the name of the song. This song is not about the movie. It's about Bond, which directly relates to what this movie is about. Bond. It's not about some crazy villain with a crazy plan. This movie is about James Bond and his character. And that's why it's so good. And that's why this song at the beginning is perfect for this.
It's just it's up tempo too, and it really gets the movie juices flowing. You're going to be in for a great action time, man. It's just my name. Oh, dude, it's just I get chill bumps every time I think about that last part of the song.
You do. Casino Royale's not mentioned in this song at all. They could have had a song, Casino Royale, or whatever. They could have done something crazy like they always do. But no, this one, they're like, okay, we're going to pick a song. It's not going to have anything to do with the title of the movie because the Casino Royale is a very small part of this movie. This movie's not about Casino Royale. It's strictly about Bond and his character and his arcs and his development and everything in between.
And he got recently promoted too, so that it's perfect.
Yeah, and speaking to that end, it's kind of what I was going to hit on just for a second. And I do like that and you can tell almost right away because usually, I think in all the Pierce films that he does the walk and shoot before the movie even starts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so in this one, immediately it starts off, and they play play it in black and white, and you
which
can
was a
kind of
great
see,
touch.
yeah, and you can kind of see that it's kind of like a flashback sequence of him, sort of getting his 00 status and all that, and that, you know, they use an actual scene, something that's actually happening to cut in with the
Beautiful.
with the shot and everything that goes right into the titles and all that. And I thought that was a nice touch. Really, pretty much right out of the gate, you're seeing that this is going to be a little bit different than, it's kind of fitting to usher in a new era. I felt like I like that
Definitely.
little touch.
It's showing darker already. You get that. Oh, you got your first kill. Congratulations. The seconds, yes, considerably. It's beautiful stuff, man. And this actually scene was actually cut down. If you look at the deleted scenes, there was actually a full segment where he goes to a cricket game and he sees the guy in the stands. And he chases him to the bathroom, and it's all in black and white. It's all very beautifully shot. And I mean, you all already in this movie in the opening, before the opening credits roll, you get the most brutal fight in the franchise in the bathroom here, and you know what you're in for, so it's beautiful, and just already setting that tone of the reboot.
Yeah, absolutely. You can even say it's a royal flush right off the gate.
Oh, uh-oh.
Here we are.
but that was great. And then let's just go ahead and continue talking about it. Freaking Daniel Craig. Absolutely loved his performance of it. Like we kind of already said that he's not like your typical Bond with like the look and the physique and all that, but he just brings his own unique style. And that I was just like, fuck yeah, like this is awesome. This is a guy that I really want to cheer for and have him kick ass. And the best thing on my notes that I have about Daniel Craig, just to me, he actually has a little bit of character traits of each of the other Bonds as well. So he's got a little bit of the comedy like Roger Moore. He's kind of got a lot the ruthlessness of Timothy Dalton. He's got the smoothness of Sean Connery. And then just fuck Pierce Brosnan. But
no, all right. What?
You get my drift though. I kind of see a little bit of every Bond actor in Daniel Craig.
And it proves to the next point, which is the next sequence of the movie after opening credits. We get to see him in action, really action for the first time with this amazing parkour sequence. And this was actually originally going to be the opening of the movie, was the original plan. But it's where he's chasing our boy that we mentioned earlier, Mr. Parkour. What's his name? Mikado or something like that?
Malaka, maybe?
Like Makala, which I could have sworn is like he's from Wakanda because the way he moved and everything.
I think it's Malaka.
Malaka is good. Yeah. What's great about the sequence is it puts all these elements of Bond onto the screen for you. This action sequence tells a story. It's not just action for the sake of action. This is telling a story about James Bond here, and it's showing that he's gritty, he's ruthless, he's unstoppable. You get all this crazy stuff where Malaka is running through, he's hopping around, he's jumping down elevator shafts, and he's hopping through windows, and then Bond's on his tail the whole time, but he's doing different things. He's running through walls, and he's fucking driving damn forklifts and shit. Like he's like doing all this, you know what I mean? Like he's doing all this crazy
about
stuff.
That scene,
yeah, it's fantastic. So it's like this guy is like, you're not going to stop Bond, but there's no gadgets in this thing. This is already right off the bat. We're in the gadget era of Bond, and this amazing action sequence we have in the moment at the beginning of the movie. There's no gadgets. It's just Bond. He's running through walls. He's ruthless, man. And this is actually I think if I'm not mistaken, this is the first foot chase in the whole Bond series, all 22 movies at the time, I think, maybe 21.
I would think so.
And I mean, I think it's awesome. And again, this tells a story. This sequence does more than just provide you with great action. It tells a story about this James Bond character that he's ruthless, man. He's ruthless.
Yeah. And I also love too when Malaka was trying to shoot Bond, he ran out of bullets, so he throws the gun at him, and Bond just catches it with one hand and throws it right back at him and hits him right in the head. Just badass, dude.
That's it. Yeah, and there's no CGI in this either. They made a conscious effort in the sequence for no CGI.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's doing his own stunts too for a lot of it.
He was actually for Casino Royale.
Man, the scene where he jumps up from the one level of the crane down to the other one, I remember seeing that in theaters, man, and I was like, "Holy shit! How did they film that?" It took me forever to wrap my head around that, man. I was like, this is it's fucking awesome.
Absolutely, dude. It's great. And what's cool about it is you see the aftermath of it. You see he's not clean at the end of this. He's got freaking bruises, he's got scars, he's got scratches over his face, and he's got blood. Like he's not this is brutal, man. We're actually seeing this for the first time where it's actually like a freaking brawl and you're seeing the aftermath of it. You know, it's great.
Yeah. He's covered in deer tape when he finally catches up with the guy.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, to speak a little about what the Bertman was talking about there. Yeah, I think that Craig did a really nice job with this. I think that he was perfect for what they were going for in this one. You know what I mean? I think that they were trying very much to, like Brad said, tell his story, to humanize him a little bit, to strip down, you know, the gadgetry and the theatrics of it all, and really just get back to a character study, and, you know, and rather than you know, have the action and all that just be the main story, you know, and Bond just happens to be the guy there orchestrating it. You know, it's actually about him. Like Brad said, even the action sequences, I think, are still, you know, central to his story and his character arc and things like that. So I think that Craig did a nice job of blending everything in together. And, you know, I mean, I think that he's charming when he needs to be. I mean, he's James Bond, so you know he's fucking, right? And,
he's fucking, yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking. I mean, come on. And so he's great in that regard, you know, doing all of his own stunts. So the action is, you know, you don't have to sell it, you know what I mean? Because it's actually him that's doing a lot of it. So yeah, I think that he was perfect. I just wanted to throw that bit out there.
Yeah, and I'll for right back at you, Chris. Kind of like to relay what you were saying. It's a nice breath of fresh air of doing something different in the Bond movies, and just like we actually are getting to learn about Bond. And just like what makes him him and how he evolves from his mistakes, because trust me, he makes plenty of mistakes in this movie, but just to see him overcome and to learn from them, it's just very refreshing.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome to kind of really dig into that character, which is something they've done so great with these Craig movies. And there's a lot of character there, man, that we've never explored this to this level. So it's fantastic. You know, Craig, he just brings that confidence, man. Like you can see it burst off the screen, man. Like how confident he is, the way he's freaking killing you with his eyes when he's looking at. What about when he goes down to he's at the place in the Bahamas and he just won his freaking game out there. He wins Demetrius's car, and he comes outside and Solange is there and he's like, "Hey, how about a drink at my place?" And she's like, "Is it close?" And he's like, "Very." And then they hop in and he takes a little spin around the parking lot and they're in the same spot. And he's like, "Yeah, man, this is my spot." He's just so confident in this movie.
Mr. Bond.
This honestly, this performance overall, I mean, I think it's the best performance of Bond we've ever had. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I think it's the absolute best Bond performance ever. I honestly think it should have been freaking Oscar worthy. Honestly, like it's fantastic. The way he just jumps straight off the freaking screen, man. He's there. You can feel it when he's eye fucking people, man.
Yeah, like he's one. It's one.
No,
of
you're
his
right.
best
I mean,
performances.
Yeah.
It's
And
definitely one
that
of
brings me
them,
back to my point is whenever he was approached by Miss Broccoli, he was reached out to by Barbara. By lunch the next day, he had read the whole novel, and he's like, "Yeah, let's meet up and talk about this." Because like he went out and got the book and he read it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's have a meeting on this." And so he was really feeling the character at this point. He brought a lot of passion to this role.
Yeah, and then again, like it shows on screen, man. So like Daniel Craig to me was just the perfect casting choice for this particular Bond character.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Honestly, up to this point, had you guys seen any of his other work before this? Like, were you familiar with him as an actor when he got
Nope,
cast?
this was the first one.
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I've seen most of his stuff now, and I think Layer Cake was a big one that he did before, which is a great movie. But at the time, what's that?
Knives Out.
That's very recent, Bert.
Yeah, I know, but still great. Like, I mean, like what this movie did to further his career into the movies.
Oh yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff now. Yeah, he's been in a lot of great shit now. But I'm just talking about before.
Okay.
Before he had been cast as Bond, I hadn't seen him in anything, and I've seen some of it now, some of that work now. I just hadn't seen it before Casino.
Another sequence of great action in this thing was the airport sequence, where he's tracing Demetrius down. After the Bahamas stuff, where he gets, all that stuff's going on, and they go down to the airport and they have a nice Duke session there. This is kind of like setting up the the main battle with him and Lashif, because he goes to the airport and saves this plane from getting exploded, which is what Lashif was really banking on in the stock market. Great sequence. This sequence alone took. Now this is cool, guys. This took 6 weeks to shoot the airport sequence alone. 6 weeks.
Good Lord.
They went to multiple locations for it. Some of the scenes were shot someplace, some were shot elsewhere. Like multiple different airports were used for the sequences. Again, they had real stuntmen out there on trucks and shit doing crazy shit. There was CGI here, though. You guys couldn't notice, though, because it was done so well and not done just for cheap ass purposes. The plane was actually a 747 that they converted via CGI to be a big ass plane.
Get out of here.
It was. And then when they did the truck sequence where he jumps off and skips the other truck and lands and almost gets ran over, that's actually 2 different shots that they did, and they merged them together via CGI, which is really cool.
Badass.
Seamless, though. It looks fantastic. The whole thing's great. Yeah. Again, you're telling the story about Bond here. After all this is done, he blows up your boy, which he sticks that damn thing on there, and he like that smirk he puts on his face is just so telling to his character. When it starts to beep and he just starts to that smirk up,
Yeah, and then the knife battle too. Even before all that, was very tense too. And like, I was just actually as a little nitpick, like, how did not anybody notice that? Like, just walking by and just go, "Damn, man, what are y'all doing?"
That's just the way, man. Fucking airports, man. Nobody gives a fuck. They're just trying to get to where they're going.
Yeah, just trying to find out where the bar is, usually.
Yeah, or a Chili's. That's what I always
seriously. Oh yeah, dude, I could crush a Chili's, and I could eat Chili's for hours at an airport.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a freaking great scene too, and I just love every moment where we're at that poker table.
Yes, which we're gonna get to that.
I know. I'm just impatient.
I know. What I love about this, though, the sequence, again, I've already mentioned it. After this sequence, he goes back to the Bahamas, and Solange is dead as a mofo. But he's got the aftermath of this battle. He's got scars all over his face. It's dirty. It's a nasty fight he had out there in the airport. So I think that's great.
In the air
fart. But then we do move to the story progresses to the point where they're going to Casino Royale. One of my favorite, and Chris, I know this is actually one of your favorite sequences in the movie as well, is when Bond and Vesper meet on the train on the way there. And they actually, I think you specifically talked about later in the restaurant, but this sequence where they met in the on the plane, or the train rather, on the way out to the Casino Royale is fantastic, where they meet. She's like, "I am the money, every penny of it." Again, that confidence, This is where we see them both meet. We can tell they're both very strong characters at this point. Like, I mean, they're just like, she's calling him out for being a womanizer, and he's just like, "Oh, my lamb is skewered," and like, it's just, it's a great sequence, man. Edited very well, underrated editing right here, because it's just dialogue, but I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is, man. Plus, like, it's just Eva Green, just like, you could tell she was so into her character too. Like, I could even see like it's actually Eva Green's personality a little bit into the character too, which like the more realness she could bring into a character, the better. And Eva Green just did a phenomenal job with Vesper throughout the entire movie, especially the train scene, because it was very important to establish her character right off the get-go, that she could hold her own against Bond. Their bantering is very solid.
Yeah, and it was just a nice human moment for Bond, I think, after all the action and shit, because we're thrown into the action, pretty relentlessly for like the first 15 or 20 minutes, and even though it's not just action for the sake of it, we are thrown into it pretty early on. So it's nice to get those little moments. And something I wanted to just backtrack for just a second. Another version of that, or another thing that kind of lends itself to that, is his relationship with M, which I thought I really loved. Dench. I mean, I love Judi Dench. She's killed this role for fucking years. first of all. But I think that her and Craig really, just in the story in general, the way that her and Bond interact in this, where she's always kind of, she's always kind of like mentoring him, like they fight and she's bitching at him, but they have like this inherent trust in each other. And that always comes across. And there's always, it's like there's even the line in Quantum whenever Olga Kurlenko's character says something to him, like, "Is that your mother or whatever?" And he makes the joke, and he's like, "Oh, she likes to think she is," when they're flying the plane,
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to throw that out there, that I thought their relationship was really cool in this iteration of it.
Oh, absolutely. And like just Judy Ditch also going like, how did you find my house? Or just all
Right.
that is just so fun while also like being a serious scene too. And Judy Dench like just dominates as M. Like just honestly to me, I know the traditional M is a male. That's my M right there.
Oh yeah, forever and always. That's my
Always.
man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, never mind.
Ralph
We're gonna make
Fiennes.
Yeah. Ralph Fiennes.
He who must not be named.
Ray Fiennes, guys. Ray Fiennes. Come on, get it together.
Honestly,
All right.
I think that's why he became Voldemort. It's like people were just calling him Ralph Fiennes. Yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Dumbasses. All right. Anyway, yeah, M was great in this one. She actually came back to. She was kind of like Die Another Day. She had a big role in The World's Not Enough, but I think that was solid. But then Die Another Day, she went down the deep end. She came back here strong, obviously setting up that connection, like you talked about, Chris, is perfect between the two of them. Great chemistry together. I love the sequence in the train. Again, like I said, you see a little bit of for the first time ever in the franchise, Bond just kind of getting called out, and you can see why the two need each other, man. Like they're both orphans. They're both, they both pick each other apart perfectly, and they're both like, we need each other at this point. That's kind of the story that scene is telling, and it's great. So then we get to the casino. Obviously, that's where we get Bond and Mads meeting up for the first time, and all kinds of great sequences
Mr. Beach.
there. Mr. Beach. Is it Beach or is it Bond? I'm confused. Yeah, Phil.
Phil Mickelson, baby. Love this guy.
Oh man. But yeah, their interaction was good.
Yeah, also get the car. The Aston Martin there.
Oh yeah.
Martine.
It's fantastic, man.
Beautiful car.
Yeah, but now he walks right up to it, just so nonchalant. It's just like, oh, I guess this is my car now. Fucking pops it open. It's just like, where's all my shit at in here? Gets a gun, gets a
defibrillator.
Yeah, he gets a defibrillator in there. A bunch of antidotes or whatever you want to fucking call them in there. And yeah, man, how cool is that though? He's just like, oh, cool. Yeah, they got me a car. But I mean, 'cause honestly, can you imagine what that scene would have been like if it was just like if Bert had showed up and they were like, by the way, Mr. Bert, your car is over in the corner. I mean, the chick would have literally been inside, like showered and ready, and she would have just like glanced out the window, and he still would have been like just jerking off on the car.
Dude,
and what's cool?
How did you know that?
This is one movie removed from invisible fucking cars and Die Another Day, ladies and gentlemen. This comes back to a more grounded approach. We get slick car. Obviously, the poker game itself is fantastic. Another fun fact: they actually they debated for a long time what they should use as the dealer, if they were going to get a real poker dealer or an actor. Real poker dealer or an actor. They ended up getting a real poker dealer out there because
great call.
Yeah, it had to be because, and they spent so much time coaching every one of these actors up on poker because there's so many subtleties about it that, a lot of people, just the way you look at your cards and the way that you look at your opponents and everything in between and the way you take your chips and the way you stack them up and everything. Very intricate. They did a lot of research for this and it shows. It's for me, it's my favorite poker sequence I've ever seen on film. Not that there's a huge amount of those.
Than Austin Powers.
That was blackjack.
I'll stay.
I also like to live dangerously. Bus.
Cars were never in my bag, but
I forgot all about that.
But no, I'll tell you this: with the poker scene stuff, I absolutely loved it. I even loved the cinematography and the camera shots where they get like a close up to the car, or like to the cards and like them looking at him. I also liked like the facial expressions of like Lashif, doing like this and seeing Bond's eyes. Like they just did a phenomenal job working the camera around that whole table.
Good point. You know what they did is once the game started, they were a little bit wider their shots, and as the game progressed, they got a little bit closer and closer to the people, so you could kind of see that interaction between them. So I thought that was really cool. Conscious decision there, and yeah, man. I mean, I will say the hands got a little bit out of hand, and yeah. Ooh, burp moment. A little bit over the top with some of these hands, a little bit unrealistic, but whatever. It was fucking entertaining as hell, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and I agree with you, Brad. That it's easily my all-time favorite thing in poker in any movie ever, except for maybe Hangover, because that was pretty damn good too, where Alan was counting cards.
Also, blackjack.
Shit,
I don't remember that one.
Cards were never in my bag, baby.
But I want to also, and I'm sure we'll get into his performance and character overall. But I also during that sequence. I mean, there are a lot of people at the table playing poker, but I mean, it's obviously just Mads Mikkelsen and Bond, Daniel Craig, and I think that Mads Mikkelsen carries this whole sequence right here. I mean, yeah, it's still everything's still about Bond, but I think for me, this entire sequence, he leads the entire thing, man. He's always, he's just so like calm. It's there's just like an uneasiness to it the entire time, and I think that he does that maybe better than any other actor, where he can just be calm and very just so calm that it's unsettling. It's still very menacing at the same time, and I think that he absolutely fucking killed it in there. I love that. Love that.
He
scene.
also likes to sweat a lot.
A lot.
Like I mean, like a lot. Like just there are a lot of scenes where he's just like just drenched sweat. I'm like, damn, dude, towel.
He says to Bond, I hope this game isn't causing you to perspire.
Yeah,
can. It nearly killed me.
It was hot in there. Man. Come on.
What I love about Lashif, though, as opposed to so many Bonds and franchise villains at the Bond franchise, he's a normal dude, and he's fucked. He's got problems. Like, he's not on top of the world. He's not fucking volcano bases. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a normal dude who just fucked up, and now he's trying to save his ass. He's humanized to the extent he's not taking over in the plot. He's not taking over the world in this plot. He's just a bad dude, and he's fucked up, and he's in this situation. Which I think is fantastic. Again, that's what this movie needed, because this movie is about Bond. It's not about crazy villains. It's about James Bond.
I heard that in the script, he did have a couple of sharks with laser beams attached to their heads.
I thought he had an evil submarine lair. It's long and hard and full of semen.
That may have been the case as well, but I know for sure that in the original iteration, the first iteration of the script, that he had a sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their head.
Thank the Lord that was not the case, because that would not make sense in this movie. Yeah, for Lashif, my favorite thing about him is just like he literally does have like the best look of a Bond villain. Like when he first appeared on screen, you immediately go, that is a fucking villain right there. And he hasn't even done a thing. You could just like presence, and it's just like Chris or like Brad kind of insinuated, just like him being just so chilled and smooth about it. And so like Mads just dominated this role and this character. Like you could tell he was really feeling it, and I think he just did an amazing job with this film as Lashif.
Yeah, 100. I absolutely agree. Obviously with all of that shit. Yeah, and I was as you were talking about that, I was thinking, yeah, the eye too. It's not. It's never mentioned, right? I didn't miss anything there, did I? The eye's never mentioned. It's just like an interesting little character tidbit there. That
you could even say it's a little bit of a callback for Ernest Blofeld, like the Donald Pleasance one where he had the scar right there.
Yeah.
He briefly mentioned it on the yacht when he's playing poker on the when he's playing poker on a private game on the yacht, and
Mhm.
that whole sequence they actually thought about taking out because they didn't want to. They thought it was a little bit over the top for the villain, but they ended up leaving it in there just
That's
to
when
kind
it
of give him.
bleeds the first time, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, he has to wipe the blood out of it. Oh yeah, that's right. And he does say that I had to be outfitted with a fake eye or some shit like that, or something like that, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Mhm.
Something there was some kind of blockage or some kind of something in his nasal cavity or something that caused it to do that. I can't remember
And
exactly.
Yeah,
does that explain the inhaler too?
That's a different thing altogether, I think.
that's
Yeah.
actually just uh, it's aerosol methamphetamine.
Yes. But again,
Yeah. And I even
the
noticed too that with him doing the inhaler, he does it completely wrong too. It's just a a little nitpick on
Well,
that.
yeah, it's methamphetamine, so you don't have to get a big hit. You just gotta.
yeah.
It's aerosolized.
We're
Uh,
adding that to the
methamphetamine.
soundboard, by the way.
Nice. You know what? I
uh,
remember what I was thinking of earlier. Whenever we were talking about sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads, and I was thinking how funny it would actually be if at the table, when they're trying to figure each other out, and uh, he just looked at Bond and in that really calm voice that he's got, and was just like, "Mr. Bond, have you ever seen sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads?" I obviously I don't do a very good Lashif, but you can imagine what it might be like if he just brought that Doctor Evil quote
And then Bond would
uh,
be like, "Well, on the contrary,
out of the
I
blue.
have."
Yeah,
One thing I liked about the sequence at the casino game, the poker game, you get that nice break with the stairwell fight again, which was fantastic, brutal and bloody. Not easy fight for Bond, like we've seen 100 times. He's not doing these little chops and these fucking whatever they did before. He's not doing that. No, it's not an easy one. Like he's getting his ass kicked just as well. Again, he's getting cuts, he's getting bruises, he's getting everything. And I love the sequence after where he kills the two individuals. Vesper kind of helps him out, and you immediately see him run for he picks up the bourbon and he pours his little cup. He takes his shirt off, covered in blood. He's cleaning the blood off his face, and then he plays one hand or whatever briefly. Cuts back to the game, but then he comes back. Vesper's in the shower in her clothes, and then Bond. This is not a great moment of vulnerability for Bond, which again we have not seen. Not necessarily vulnerability, but just empathy, I guess, for the first time we've seen in the franchise, where he hops into the shower with her, but he keeps his clothes on. This isn't a sexual thing. This is I care about you, and I'm sorry you feel this way kind of deal, because she's like, obviously she's never experienced this before. She's got blood on her hands now. So he gets in there and tries to comfort her, and it's just, it's really the first time we see compassion from the character of Bond since he got married in on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was 1966, I think. I don't know, one of those years.
yeah, especially toward a female, because usually it's just like, hey, you know what? If we ain't fucking, I got no use for you. And
Right?
that's
Yes.
pretty much
Yeah.
how it's been how it's been through most of these. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. That was in my notes as well. I really love that scene.
He sucks some fingers
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that
Which
was
I
a
always
little.
weird, but I understand why he did it, because he was trying to wash off the blood out of her fingertips, I guess. So like I understood it this more time around, but like I usually went like, okay, like there's always a thing called
Right.
washing your hands, but
You're not gonna put that in your mouth, are
yeah, you
Yeah,
did. That's just gross,
yeah.
but
we
But,
also get did you something about the shower scene, Bert?
well, no, not about the shower scene, but Chris, I promise Chris I will do this because this was in one of my notes. What I also love most about this movie too, it just does such a great job pacing about how like we get a little action, and then we tone it down with like like breathing room, action, breathe, and kind of like how you say with the action, like in the stairwell, and then go to the shower scene. That's like the ultimate. Like, yeah, exactly. Like just busting through cylinders, man. But
Yeah, it's almost like it's giving your emotions the old 1-2. You know what I mean?
yeah, but like I just like this movie does it like the one of the best jobs I've ever seen a movie do. Controlling the pacing and just like the ups and downs of like action and breathing, and I think it's just awesome.
Right, you are, Ted. That's a perfect example of that. This sequence here, I think that's actually fantastic. Another thing I really like about the card game, a lot of great character moments overall. We
Mhm.
see Bond fail a couple times in this. Again, that's not something we're used to seeing from Bond. He never fails. This guy's always winning. He's always doing everything right. He fails a couple times. He goes all in. He loses. He has to get his money back, which I
And I
think
just
was a
want,
great.
I want to, if I could just interject there, and not only does he lose, but it's also interesting to see that it's his ego that causes him to lose. And
Mhm.
we talked a lot about how how confident he is and how the confidence shows through, but then at the same time, it kind of betrays him at a very pivotal moment. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I just
He's
wanted to
fucking
interject.
pissed too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's not an easy pill for him to swallow that his ego just let him down so drastically. But I just wanted to interject that real quick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great point. And when Bond, like, you can even see, like, in the bars, like, Martini shaking her stirred. Does it look like I give a damn? I
Fucking
thought
best
that.
moment.
I
Yeah.
thought that was awesome. Versus your typical shaken, not stirred, like moment. I thought that was
It
Yeah.
phenomenal.
it's such a not this it's not a fuck you, but it's such a we're not doing what you've seen before. This is a different Bond. We're not seeing this. We're not doing this. We're not going down the same path. This is a new take on the character. This is him at the beginning. And again, that's perfect. Yeah, that sequence where he says that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we even
Um,
learned the origins about the drink in this movie too.
Yeah, when he orders that first Vesper at the casino at the bar, and everybody's like, "Hey, I have one of those too." Yeah, brother, that sounds pretty good. Let's make it three. You know,
Save the fruit, and then
yeah.
Matt, and then the sheep's getting pissed off, going, "Anybody else?" Oh
Can we
man,
play
but
some
it's just
poker? Yeah.
like, and that's what the movie does too. Like they just know exactly when to add the comedy without being over the top. Like it naturally flows, and they just like nailed that particular comedy scene in there perfectly.
Yes, absolutely. And we get that. So after the game ends, eventually Bond he gets his money back from Felix, um, and he wins the game. And they're like, okay, Mads is on his. You know, he's got to help you guys out now, or he's fucked. That's what this whole thing's about, essentially. I love the sequence. And Chris, I'll let you talk about this. Is the dinner after the game because I know you talked about this in our text thread the other day.
No, this just kind of struck me, and I think that there. I mean, like we talked about the train, and there are a lot of really humanizing moments for Bond. I just don't think that they really. I realized how important they were. I think on reviewing this because I saw this years and years ago, but I haven't seen this one in a long time. I know you both have watched it several times more than me. And so going back on this rewatch, the after the game scene where they're having dinner, it just kind of struck me and stuck with me. It's just such a good combination of things, and really just the most vulnerable I think that we've ever seen Bond. He's like lighthearted. He's laughing. He's still charming, but he's comforting. He makes a bad joke. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just a different kind of take, and it's just so humanizing, I think, and kind of also goes hand in hand with what Brett was talking about before, where we do have all this action. We have this these high stakes. People are, and it's also that has had an effect on Vesper, where there it's not just a game of poker. People are dying, here in front of her, and people have been dying the whole movie. There's high stakes, national security and what have you, all this shit, and then but at the end of it, it's just these two people there having dinner together, and there's just like this nice vulnerable moment between those two, and I just something about it really stuck with me as like a really necessary scene for this movie, and I think for Bond, just in general, but especially for this movie, it really needed that scene.
An amazing character development for Bond too, especially after winning that poker table, because it just takes another step. Because he learned about how to let his ego go to achieve the goal, and then after he achieved the goal, he can finally breathe and relax and enjoy it with the person that he's actually been getting feelings for. So, when y'all mentioned that in the text, that's why I watched it again, so I could watch that scene in particular, and I finally understood what y'all were talking about.
It's a fantastic moment.
Yeah.
It is. That and the train scene are two of my favorite moments of the whole movie. It's really diving into that vulnerability of Bond and that love story that was so necessary to this plot. Love that. The next sequence we get
Oh,
immediately
sorry.
after
Before
that.
we talk about the next sequence, can we rewind real quick about how freaking Bond's drink being poisoned? That scene,
Yeah, that was a great sequence,
because
man.
that
That
was
was
a great
yeah.
sequence too. Like a bunch of tents, and then he comes back after being healed up, going, huh, "That last hand nearly killed me."
Yes, and great
That's my
directing
favorite
there.
line.
I do. I love that. And the sequence, the director there, Martin Campbell, they purposely went in. Obviously, you can see when you watch that clip that they shake the camera a lot. It's very chaotic the way they're shooting that sequence because you want
Mm-hmm.
the audience to feel that way, the same way Bond's feeling. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's fantastic.
It really captured the feeling of like, when Bond gets up. I mean, he knows that something's wrong, but I love when he goes to the bathroom and he's just like desperately trying to keep his shit together. You know what I mean? Like even when
Well,
he's
he was trying to
outside.
throw it up. Like he got that salt water and everything. He was trying to throw it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying he's just trying really hard to keep his shit together. Just like even when he walks in there and he's trying to take care of business, even when he walks outside to the car, you don't see him like running. Like he's just like trying to keep his shit together and just get there calmly.
Dude,
Yeah.
he looked like me after drinking fucking like I don't know, 17, 18 whiskey and fucking sours one time, like just trying to get to my back to my fucking room, like just trying to walk across the
Yeah, buddy.
street, like, like it's just all over the place, like, oh, where am I? You know what I'm talking?
Hell
Those
yeah, dude.
damn
I've been
whiskey
there.
sours.
And do you know
I've been there.
what? Like,
Goddamn whiskey sours.
and do you know what really just sets up that scene too? Is the score,
Yeah.
man. Just as soon as immediately he just looks at that drink, that score kicks in. And
Yes.
it's just
Yeah.
like shit's about to go down. Or shit just happened. Like it's just the score throughout the entire movie. It's just perfectly placed to help tell the story.
Yeah, the score is great overall, man. Just a quick tidbit
It's
on that
really
is
nice.
it always incorporates that Chris Cornell song into the score, which is something Bond always really does, tries to do. Works fantastic here in this one, man.
Now
Um,
now you can go bust our balls, Brad.
let's go ball busting, man. Next sequence. Vesper gets captured. We get a nice sequence with the Aston Martin where he's driving. They wreck this car. They had 3 cars to wreck. Actually,
That
wreck. No
hurt
CGI.
worse than the ball
I know.
torture.
They had 3 cars to wreck in this sequence. No CGI here. They wrecked the shit out of some expensive ass cars here, and they used ramps and they did all kinds of crazy shit. They eventually had to get one where it shoots it up off the
Woo!
ramp. Yeah,
Man,
and
I think I saw you do that one time for our OnlyFans page. Just anybody that wants to
The
subscribe to that.
eject button.
yes, got that right. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, let's
but yeah,
move right on past that.
that car, that sequence it looked fucking unreal though when that car wrecks. Something we don't see a lot of these days. It was great. But anyways, yes, next scene we get the vulnerable Bond again. This is the most vulnerable he's ever been in the franchise. Once again, time after time and time. This is a torture scene where his fucking bottom's cut out of his chair and he's getting his balls whipped. He's butt ass naked at this point. He's naked as a mofo and he's getting whipped. The lighting in this room is fantastic. Again, it looks great because you can't see like it's kind of dark and eerie. Love that. It's and again, it's just humanizing Bond. He's fucked up. He's in the situation. He's getting humanized here,
They law.
and and yeah, he's losing at this point. We always see it, but never to this extent. We've seen so many, and Lashif says it best. We've seen so many torture scenes for Bond over the years, over the 50 years, but nothing like this. This is the most intense scene for
Yeah,
Bond.
it's just he makes the comment where he's like, I don't really understand the how why people have to get so elaborate. Why not just get one of these and just smack you right in your balls
Yeah.
repeatedly until you give it up or whatever.
And then
Uh, but I love that. Just the fact that I mean, and you've kind of scratch the surface about it, where Bond fucked up.
Scratch the surface.
To the left. To the left.
I tried
Now
to
the
pull a
whole
little,
world's gonna know that you scratched my balls.
but here we have Lashif, who is just desperately frantic, trying to get the money that he owes all these people, and here's Bond, who's just tried to save the love of his life, and just woke up and now is getting his balls whacked into it. Well, that doesn't sound right, does it?
Not in a good
getting
way.
his
Ladies
ball,
and gentlemen.
getting his
Oh,
balls
man.
busted into oblivion. So
God,
I think that we talked about how it's just two guys that have fucked up, just trying to figure out a way to make it right.
Mhm.
But I will say, man, you all have to admit that the car crash is a little over the top, man. If I had one thing to complain about in this movie, every time I watch it, I'm like, man, I just don't know about that car scene. About him swerving and.
I think it's badass.
He got fucked up, bro. Like, it's not like he just crawled out and kicked some more ass like he does in fucking Skyfall.
Oh,
he got-
no. I know that. I mean, just like the crash in general just seems so. I mean, that car flipped like 70 fucking times. I'm just like, it just seems a little unrealistic to me.
But dude, with how fast he was going, though.
Oh,
It's
they
just
wrecked the fuck out of the car, man.
just a minute little detail that I may have changed or wanted to be done differently.
Right.
But yeah, y'all go on with the
The ball smacking.
yeah.
And do you know what really just works with that torture scene? And I just remember my experience with this in theaters with the whole big surround sound and all
I thought
that.
you were gonna say with getting my balls hit.
No, like the surround sound and all that with the theater. Oh man, dude! I'm telling you, like every male in the world was feeling that scene. But what really makes that scene work, though, is the freaking sound editing they inserted in there to really make you feel the impact of this. Like every time he just like I mean, like the sound editing. So whoever did that guy needs a raise.
Yes, he does. And not a raise in a ball kind of way, but a raise in a money kind of way.
Yeah, and you talk about blue balls. God, Bond got some blue balls for bruising.
Yeah, he was swelled up the next day. I guarantee it.
He had a good time. And what I like about the sequence, too, is not only...
have a good time, Brad. What the hell?
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, you're right.
Oh,
But
I
I like the way that he, like, you could see in his expressions, he's legitimately concerned as fuck. Like, a few times, like, he's laughing. He's like, "Oh yeah, to the left, to the left." But then, like, when he mentions Vesper, he starts to panic almost at one point.
Mhm.
And I thought that was great. Another vulnerable moment. We cut to, obviously, Mads dies. Lashif does. Mr. White comes in, blows him away. Not in a good way. But he blows him away, and then we get the next moment where he wakes up. Bond does, and Mr. White's there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's do. Do you know he's still alive?" And Vesper's there. This is again another fantastic moment between Bond and Vesper, where she's all like, "Oh, if you were just your little finger and your smile, you would be more than the man than anybody I've ever met. That's because you know what I can do with my little finger." But that's besides the point. It's just a great moment of vulnerability once again from Bond. I have no armor, I'm yours. He says I love you for the first time. I don't even know if he said that when he got married. I don't know.
Well, great dialogue, man.
Oh, it's great.
Like
man.
great writing. That's what I meant to say.
And this was to me the first time I watched this, I was a little thrown off by this sequence because I was like, "What the fuck? Bond doesn't love anybody." But again, that's what makes it so great now when I'm going back and watching it these days since I, became an adult. It's a great sequence, man.
Yeah, dude, that's a great sequence. But yeah, Mathis did a good job, like kind of like being there to help explain the poker game too, just for the general audience who does, who has absolutely no idea. He just kind of helps like carry along the game. Which I thought that was good, and I just liked his character overall too. Even though he was a little bit of a dick towards the end for selling out Bond,
or did he?
Yeah, I know. Or we'll get into that later on. But yeah, I just thought his performance was good too. But yeah, Bond and Vesper finally getting together, and just how all that unfolds, which is awesome.
I love the quote that Bond gives. He says, "This is a little bit later when they're on the sailboat, I think, or on the beach." He says, "You do what I do for too long, and there won't be a soul left to salvage," or something like that. Um, which is something where he's about to hang it up and just sail around the world with Vesper, and
Yeah, I
just
believe
I
that was
love
the
that.
beach.
Yeah, I thought that was great,
Mm-hmm.
and a great ultimate arc for Bond in this movie.
Yeah, Chris, any thoughts about like towards the ending there with like Bond and Vesper?
None that you guys didn't already cover. Really, I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed it, and we probably should have touched on Mathis's character earlier. I really did enjoy his
Mm-hmm.
character, but nothing really that you guys haven't covered. And I know we're kind of running long on this already, anyway, so I won't take up any more time. Nothing outside of what y'all said. No.
Yeah, and that's it. The very first time I watched this movie in theaters, that's what I thought we were going to live happily ever after. And then freaking Brad's boy shows up with freaking the weird ass sunglasses, and then you just get an
Brad's
odd.
boy.
Because you can't pronounce his name. Guess why I can't either, so I'm not even gonna make fun of you on that one. But no, it's just when you see him, like you kind of get that uneasy feeling, like oh shit, this movie ain't over yet. And then that's just when everything just goes insane with the third act.
Yeah, he makes that fucking phone call to the bank or whatever, and he's like, "Well, we've transferred it all to the so and so bank," and he's like, "God damn it." And that was kind of heartbreaking, man. I remember seeing it the first
Oh
time as
god,
well, and I was
yeah.
like, "Man, Vesper fucked him over." It's like, damn. But it was just foolish to think they were gonna just sail off into the sunset at the end, anyhow. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know,
He's
Brad. What do you think about that little that last little action bit?
he stays cool. He says, "Oh, that's a shame. I wouldn't think they would miss it or whatever." But deep down, he's torn up, man. He goes out there, yeah, he goes out there and chases her down, and you get this great sequence there in Venice where they have this freaking one of those houses on the water just fucking sinking in the water. It's great. It's a really well done sequence. We get nail guns shooting around.
Yeah, he got
which
nailed.
was
Mhm.
great way to kind of end the movie there with a just another epic action sequence there at the end of the movie. It's great. And obviously Vesper ends up dying in the elevator shaft. And Bond, I will say, I'm really kind of disappointed with the CPR attempts at the end. He maybe he gave it
Mm-hmm.
like 2 pumps, and they gave up on her. I'm like,
Hey, Daniel Craig did get a little boob action info on Eva Green, if you
he did get the
noticed.
reach around. Yeah, he did do that. For sure.
God, man, I would have just sat there and motorboating until the cops came and just pulled me away. Dude, I would have just been like, "I'm trying to save her life."
Oh my god!
uh,
No, but dude, that thing is, dude. But the thing's so sad though, and the score again, the fucking score they used on it really just really sets that scene, just for the heartache, not only for us but for Bond, man. Like, he's so broken up after Vesper betrayed him and died. So I can't even imagine what that would do to a guy that has put. I mean, who's going to give all of his double O life away to be with her? And just how everything unfolds. Just like, and even called her a bitch, like the bitch is dead,
Yeah,
lying.
he
And
was heartbroken, man. I mean, can you
dude, like,
imagine?
and Daniel Craig just fucking sells it, man. And you feel it, and it's just amazing, dude. I like it. Great acting.
Yeah, it was, and that's actually a quote from the book too, because at the end, so yeah, I mean, Bond thinks that she's a double O, or not a double O, but a double agent at this. What's the word for it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
double
that's what
agent.
Judy Dench
Mhm.
mentions. Like, and we're so busy
Yeah.
focusing on our enemies, we forget to check our friends or our allies.
So he's all thinking that it's a double agent, betrayed our country, betrayed me, yada yada yada. But in reality, what happened is that she was so concerned about Bond, she knew that she couldn't go on in that life. In the novel, actually, she wanted a new life with Bond. That was her goal. That was actually what she wanted to do. She wanted to move off with Bond, and then they're in Italy or whatever, and she sees One Eye Willie boy out there on the beach, and she's like, oh fuck, this can't happen. So she sees that. She knows as long as they're together and they're living this life, Bond's never going to be safe. So what she does in the novel, she actually commits suicide in the book. She takes some pills.
Damn.
Oh, I didn't
She
know
she
that.
she pieces out so that way Bond can be safe. She does that for him. So I thought that was an interesting, and really the story is the same here. She doesn't commit suicide per se, but the story's the same. She's doing all this actually not for her boyfriend, but for Bond at this point, because she wants him to be safe and she doesn't want him to be in this life, because she already saw, he's to this point, from the beginning of this movie to now, he's taken ass kicking after ass kicking. Yes, he's kicked more ass, but he hasn't had a pleasant time to be to be simple here.
So I barely keep his balls in his pants because they're so swollen at the end, and that
exactly, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great story moment. Again, again, you can have mixed feelings on Vesper and her intentions, but at the end of the day, she's trying to save Bond here at the end, and it's a great moment. It's a great moment for all characters, because we see how Bond becomes Bond that we know and love at this point, because of this, and that he's never going to love again, or maybe he will. We'll see how this next movie comes out to be, but you just kind of see how he's changed as a man, and how he's never going to be vulnerable again, how he's never going to trust again. And you can get behind it, you can understand it, and I think it's fantastic, man.
Yeah, even Judy Dench, M said, "Well, you learned your lesson," or say, you can't trust anybody, or you don't trust anybody, don't you?" Well, you learned your lesson.
Yeah, so, right. He said, "Yeah, good."
Yeah, which is a great line by M. And then, of course, Van, that's when Bond hunts down Mr. White and said, "We gotta have a little talk," before he freaking brutal ass shot to the leg. And then we get the amazing classic. The name's Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
And we get to the credits, which I thought was the perfect way to end that movie, to establish Bond's back and he's ready to kick ass.
Bond is born.
Yeah, even better.
There was no other way to end it, really. That's probably, in my opinion, that was the only one way you could end it, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And holy crap, like we have literally talked like an hour and 5 minutes or close to it about positives. Do we have any damn negatives in this movie?
I do not.
No, not really a negative. I think the only thing that bugged me a little bit, but I know it, but I know why they did it. I love Mads Mikkelsen so much, and I really enjoyed his character. I thought we were going to get a little bit more than just a little shot at the, he gets shot, just kind of randomly, it seems, at the end. But at the same time, I think that also goes to serve that, like we've said several times tonight, that, it is Bond's story, and it's not one of these issues where, it's a super villain that can't, that's indestructible or whatever. And so I enjoy it in that regard, story wise. I just hated that we didn't. I just wanted more Mads Mikkelsen, but not a negative. Just a comment, anything else?
Yeah, like really minor nitpicks, like just like the littlest of nitpicks, and that was it with Le Chiffre. I would have loved to see kind of like a Bond and Le Chiffre kind of like fight, but Brad kind of brought up a good point. Le Chiffre is not that type of Bond villain, because like he's only a banker of the terrorists, so he doesn't know how to do like the fighting or defend himself and all that. So that actually kind of worked out better the more I'm thinking about it. So but I still could have used a little more of like Bond fighting the actual villain, just a little bit. But again, guys, it's just nitpicks. It's not like anything that would just ruin the movie or anything.
Yeah, of course.
You can see that in Die Another Day, but
oh gosh, we could freaking talk an hour about negatives in that one.
I think I have Die Another Day on DVD, man. I'm gonna have to bust it out now and rewatch it. I haven't seen that thing since, and I remember even when it came out in theaters. The scene at the beginning when he's like parachuting and like surfing at the same time, and it's some of the worst CGI you've ever seen. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm actually gonna watch it right now after we're done here in a minute.
Yeah, he jumps off of a glacier and is like skiing on a fucking plane door, and he's like got a parachute that's pulling him across the ocean, and it's horrible CGI. Cut right into the Madonna.
We are not talking about that movie, sir. I will not let you ruin this amazing review with that bullshit of a movie. So do we have any other negatives y'all want to talk about, or not really negatives, nitpicks,
Nothing worth mentioning, Bert. Nothing worth
All right.
mentioning.
So, are we going to go ahead and go with the score?
Yes.
Oh man,
Considerably.
all right. This is almost more tense than the knife scene at the airport for me right here. So, do you want? I'm generous. Let me go first. I'm obviously. This is so easy with the rating for me. 5 out of 5. A fucking golden reel. One of my top movies of all time. Absolutely love this movie.
Okay, Bert, man. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 as well, man. This is
God
my
damn it.
This is my third favorite movie of all time. Absolute masterpiece.
Chris, don't
Yeah.
you do it.
Don't do what? I'm gonna give it a 1. No, I'm kidding. Yes, man. You know that we were all headed in that direction. If you couldn't tell in the text thread before, yeah, it's a 5. I mean, it's it's the perfect Bond movie. It's a perfect action movie. It's definitely my favorite Bond movie. One of my favorites, probably my top 20. I don't know that it's in my top 10 for me, but it's definitely probably in my top 20. And I
All
really,
right.
I enjoyed the hell out of it back in the day, but upon with this last rewatch, man, I liked it a lot more now than I even did back in the day. So yeah, 5 for me.
All right,
yeah.
guys, we finally did it on this channel. 3 for 3. We did it. Holy shit. We will. Again, this movie deserves it, and just so much deserves it, guys. It gets the first ever on this channel, the Golden Reel.
I love gold. The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.
Ooh, that's cause for celebration.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Fucking A right, Chris
Nice.
Jericho. So that's it, guys. That is our review for Casino Royale. We obviously had a little bit to say about this movie.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. But I had a great time, and this is just only the beginning to this review series that I am so looking forward to.
Same, man.
We-
I can't wait.
We didn't under negatives. We really didn't talk about the rat.
There's no
rat?
rats in this one.
What are you talking about, dude?
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man.
We're gonna save that for Skyfall, which we will get to the whole rat thing in Skyfall. So, is there
just
anything
fucking-
else y'all want to say before I close this out?
Nope. Pumped. Ready to rock on to the next one. And yeah, man. This movie gets better every time I watch it.
I absolutely agree with that.
You'll
Chris,
enjoy. I don't think so, man. We will see you next week in Aquana, man.
all right, and let's go ahead and make that transition over to Quantum. So, guys, what did you all think about Casino Royale? Do you think it's a golden reel like us, or do you actually have some problems with it that just brings it down a little bit? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you want to help us find the good reels, you can just opponing us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, Snapchat, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TikTok.
Tic Tac.
There we go.
Those links are in the description for you to find down below.
Absolutely are. And be sure to like this video, share and subscribe, and of course ring that bell, ding ding ding, so you know when the next Bond review is up and ready.
Right, you are, which will be next week, and we will find oil with you then.
Maybe even drink it.
Yes.
See you guys.